What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Probably since before this channel even existed, probably before my first video was even shot, my wife has been asking me to try to make the Taco Bell caramel apple empanadas. I don't know if they discontinued it where you are. They discontinued it here. It was one of her favorite things from fast food of all time. And this week is our anniversary, so I thought maybe this would be a fun little thing to do for this video. I wanted to do it yesterday while I had a little more time, but she was like, hey, we got the tiny humans out of the house for the day tomorrow. Why don't you just do it before we go out for dinner? And so we're going to do that. We're going to try and keep this short and sweet and see how it goes. Now, I haven't actually tested any of this. I thought a video like this, it might be a little bit more fun to just kind of wing it and see what happens. So hopefully it doesn't suck. Since pastry dough is going to sit and chill for a while first, I started there. So I cubed up some cold butter, tossed that back in the fridge, iced a bunch of water, and sifted some cake and pastry flour. Then I added my cold butter into my flour and kind of incorporated that until it was pea-sized chunks using a fork so I didn't get it all warmed up with my hands. Then I added in my 50 grams of ice water and just mixed that until it came together and absolutely no more. Then I wrapped that up, tossed it in the fridge, and just let it sit for about an hour. While that was going, since I don't want to be trying to fill my empanadas with hot apple filling, I went ahead and cooked that next. First I cubed up about half a dozen apples, and then I added a quarter cup of sugar and a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon. I got some butter melting in a pan on the stove on medium, and I just tossed all of those in and just cooked them until they were nice and broken down and starting to release some liquid. Then, to avoid clumping, I mixed together 2 teaspoons of cornstarch with some cold water. The amount of cold water isn't really all that important here as long as you manage to dissolve all the cornstarch. And dump that into my still hot apple filling, where I cooked it for 1 more minute and let it all thicken up. Then I just transferred that to a plate and spread it out and stuck it in the fridge so that it would cool nice and quick. Onto the caramel. To a small pan I added about half a cup of white sugar and a little bit of water just to help it dissolve. You can do this without technically, this just makes it a little bit easier. And a pinch of salt. Always gotta have a little bit of salt. Then I took it over to the stove and cooked it on medium, brushing down the sides with a little bit of water just to avoid crystallization. Then I just let that boil until it just started to darken. At which point I whisked in just a couple splashes of heavy cream. If you were making a sauce that you were going to serve at room temperature, you would want this to be a little bit thinner, but since I'm going to be frying these and the inside is going to be hot, I didn't want this to just be super liquidy, so I left it nice and thick. Then I added that into my cooled apples and just gave it a little mix. Alright, let's roll out this shitty pastry dough. Press it down a little bit, flour out my counter, and I'm just going to roll this out until it's about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thick. Probably more like 1/8. Then using my kid's bowl, because hey, it's the right size, I just cut out as many circles as I can into this dough and remove the excess. You could reuse this excess, but I didn't yet. Then I transferred those to a baking sheet so I could stick them in the fridge and stay cold until we were ready to use them. At which point I loaded them up with a spoonful of my apple filling, and then just using my finger, added a little bit of water around the edge to kind of help seal the pie crust. And I folded them over, pressed them shut, and sealed it all with a fork. Obviously, they're not looking so pretty. Anywho, let's take them to the fryer. I just used enough oil, so it's just going to cover the empanadas. You don't need a whole lot. Then I brought it up to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and fried them for a couple minutes on each side, or just submerged. Took them out, drained them, and tossed them in cinnamon sugar, which I made by adding 1 cup of sugar with a tablespoon of cinnamon and just giving it a little whisk. And that's it. Repeat as necessary, and oh baby, a whole plate of caramel apple empanadas that clearly leaked all over the oil. But let's cut into these, see how they look, see how they taste. That's not bad. They clearly didn't seal, and I really wish I could have gotten a little bit more caramel in there, but for our first attempt, that was pretty alright. And that's it. This one did not quite turn out how I hoped that it would, but that's life. She still enjoyed it. I still had a good time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Things I would do differently, probably not make pastry. It's always been one of my biggest weaknesses cooking is pastry dough, and I don't know why I didn't just find a recipe for that. The other main thing that I would do is substitute that caramel for dulce de leche. If I had thought about it sooner, I probably would have actually done that, but I didn't really think this through. And that was kind of the point of it. That was kind of the fun of it. But that's about all I got for this one. If you guys enjoyed this video, you had some fun with it, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see some more successful stuff, be sure to subscribe. Go check out some other videos. I'll put some links over here. Over here. I don't know. It's somewhere. Go check that out. It's probably better. Thank you very much for watching, you guys, and I will see you in the next one.